Hey, caught her off guard. Hello, 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 and welcome to the what?
Taking the Journey Together show.
One more time. We are so glad to see you, those who are back.
We're so glad you see us.
Yes,
You're here to
exactly.
see us and with us.
Yes, we are glad again. Been on for quite a while, not as long as some relationships have been. We've been in a relationship the second time around. How long so far, dear?
It has been, let me see. How do you say it? 733 years.
And 45 cents. And a buck and a half staff stick.
Yes.
People are like, what the heck is that? I don't know.
We have actually been in relationship for 15 years.
15 years?
Almost 16 years. We've been.
Not much.
Not
much compared to how long you were in.
Yes. And
I guess you had to think about, what is he talking about?
But no, I was waiting for you to finish the sentence.
No.
Okay. Finish. Yes, and I have, and we have been married for almost 12 years.
12 years? That's it?
Yeah.
Not further than that?
Not further than that.
Wow. What should we say about that then?
Counting up to 12 with 30 more to go.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, okay. When someone hears that, some people hear that, go, oh my God, that's a long time. Yet, if you look at it in dog years, it's not. No, excuse me. If you look at it in people years, especially what they used to live years ago, and some who live other places much longer than that because of the food they eat, and you look at it from the standpoint of experience I can have with someone that I care about as a friend, then in that point of view, that may be not enough years.
Absolutely. Maybe as a matter of fact, my math was off because I was trying to get it up to 50.
And
that was wrong. So
some people already up above. Michael Bridge, hello, good to see you here. Good. So anyway, I'm sorry. You're going to tell everybody a little bit about what we're about, what our mission statement is, and all that good stuff.
We might want to start with who we are.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I am Sharon or Zare, and I'm preferring to be called Zare. And you are?
I'm Mar, and some people call government name Craig.
Yes, and Imar is his preference. So we are taking the journey together. We have been taking this journey together, as I just said, for about 15 years. Getting close to 16.
Getting close to 16.
In July, it'll be 16 years.
We have been
hanging out with each other.
Yes. Some days it's been long. Some days it's been short. Other days you were kind of wondering to yourself, what was that really all about?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Some days have been insightful. And some days have been, will tomorrow ever get here?
Yeah. But these couple of weeks, have you been noticed? The days have just been flying by.
They have.
Have you noticed that? They just like, I don't know what's going on.
I don't
know if y'all folks notice that, but the days have just been flying. Could be because we don't have that hardy snow down here, down south. And you know how the snow makes you stay inside, don't want you to go out, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it could be that, but
it could be.
Wow.
I just know that I want the next few days to just kind of trickle by, and then after that, after a week is over, I'm ready for it to
Did you say trickle by?
I did.
So you want the trickle down effect?
I know. I want the trickle by.
Has that ever worked? The trickle down effect?
I want the trickle down effect is not that good.
You know,
I do want the trickle by.
You know what I call the trickle down effect? For some people, it's called I'll trip you down.
Oh.
And I'll trip you, have you fall down.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
Especially today, because we're doing a lot of falling down off of whatever stuff they're doing that's trickling this direction.
Yes.
And it ain't good money. It's not good taxes. It's not good feeling too. It's going all up. It's going up.
Yeah.
And we get the, they say the shit that goes downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually, sometimes we're not even getting that. It's like there's an umbrella over us, and it's hitting the umbrella, but the umbrella's turned upside down. So everything is falling in the umbrella, and we're getting nothing.
Well, we had some guests actually that we were open to. In fact, we've had a lot of guests last time and this time. And Everybody got busy. We could have let them know the last moment too, but everybody got busy. Other people had some emergencies going on, and then a couple, three of them you just plain scared.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, I can't be getting on there with Craig and Sharon or Imar." And it's already talking about relationships. A lot of people like the relationships to be private. They don't want it to be open. But I'll be honest with you, we usually try to get the relationships that are already working in the community, already working in the public, and they're doing power couple things, which is what we're trying to give an example there. We need to start working on power couples,
Right.
especially in the African American community, the Black community. We need to work on power couples, whether it's in your own village, that some people say they have their own tribe they have, or you're part of the community through your church or through your work in your politics. We need to build more power couples
And
in our
sometimes
community.
that power starts in your home.
Yes.
Starts in your relationship. You got to get it settled in your relationship as you prepare to take it out into the public.
Exactly. So what have we been talking about to get things going a little bit last
before
time?
we do that, I'm going to do what you had asked me to do a minute ago, but we got sidetracked.
What's that?
I am going to read our belief statement.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Our belief statement goes like this. We are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father, your children, or even what Jesus says. We are going to relate. We get the idea that we can be friends, but we can't be lovers, or we can be lovers, but we can't be friends. Therefore, we can marry our lover, but not our friend. At taking the journey together, we feel the need to relate in a balanced way.
In a balanced way?
Balanced.
A gippity balanced way.
By balanced, we mean...
one foot on top and the other foot on the bottom.
Exactly. By balance, since we believe your best friend can be your best lover, we mean taking the friendship and sharing on one side and the lover and sexual compatibility on the other side, then work towards creating a thriving relationship, or what we call a healthy relationship.
Exactly. And what would that look like, by the way? Us is one of them. And thank you very much, because we're trying to get people to know that what we're talking about, other folks are practicing in their own way. And the guests that we have, if you're listening, they didn't pick on you because we thought that you would be the wrong guest. We picked on you because, we actually thought it was an honor to ask for you to come, because many of you already are practicing in your own way. And we're power couples, practicing balance. And your relationship in your own way. And all we want to do is celebrate that. And then at the same time, give others who listen, let alone yourself, some more tools that you could do to either pass on to your children, pass on people in the community, or, like always in a thriving, healthy relationship, expand more for yourself. That's the time you and your loved one can be selfish, maybe. I guess.
And one of the things that I think makes a big difference has to do with the fact that we never know what good relationships should be. And when we see examples of good relationships, we realize that that other people need to see that too. We need examples.
Exactly. Role models.
Exactly. Or mentors. We live like in our own bubble, but we don't get a chance to understand what it could be because we don't know really what it is that we have.
Yes.
And so, over the weekend, this past weekend, we met 3 or 4 really inspiring couples.
Yes, we did.
And we feel like in their own way, they have a lot to offer our audience that we don't necessarily think of, or maybe they don't necessarily think of as being something that is so wonderful that it can be offered to somebody else. And that's what sometimes we end up taking our relationships for granted. But when we can share that information, that knowledge, that what works for us, maybe it's not going to work for somebody that's listening, but maybe they can take that and tweak it a bit so that it can work for them.
I think there's also another way we can do this, and I'm not just going to pick on one particular sex in the relationship. If there are going to be the relationship with a male and a female, which is the customary way that we see, We don't even have enough customary male and female relationship in the Black community anyway, because there's too many single parents, as I have came out of one. But anyway, we're going to give an example from that standpoint that if you want to know that which is the positive or the other side, or that is the best example, sometimes you have to show the less, weaker, or the example that you should be doing. And if you show that example, you'll find out then in turn, basically, how can I say it again? That is not what you don't want to do. So we're going to put up an example of that which you don't want to do. And this person is going to talk about it so you know that. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to have Sharon turn her mic over there to let you did before, just in case, because I don't know if this setting is the setting that is doing the right thing. I don't have the slightest idea, but hopefully it does. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you just turn it around, bend it that way, like that. And that's going to hold it. Okay, here we're going to go. And again, I'm not picking on any particular male or female in our relationships. This is just going to give you an example of what you don't want to do. In this case, if they do, you are going to have an idea of what they really are about in a relationship. And this difference does not make a good balance.
Is it possible for you to take what she says and
first
say,
you got to listen to it.
Say either
first you got to listen to it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Baby, know the difference between a woman that's into you and a woman that's using you. A woman that's using you, she always asking for shit. She always got a handout. She always bringing up shit just because she know that you're going to take care of her. All right? It's always her. Okay? A woman that's into you, baby, she want to know how your day been. Okay? She want to know how your mental is. If you're secure within yourself. She wants to know how she can help in certain areas. All right? She want to know the things that make you happy, what makes you smile, even what your favorite color is. You have to know when a woman is into you versus a woman that's using you. Because if you don't, you're going to lose every time. You're going to lose every time unless you want to be used. Unless you want to be used, disposed, you know. Because that's all they're going to do is use your ass up until you ain't got it no damn more. And then now you start looking crazy. Like, oh, you done use me. You know, shit. You knew that any damn way. Yeah, baby. Get some benefit out of who you dealing with. Period. And I ain't talking about being used in the wrong way. Yeah.
Okay. Let me get this down. Get this to us. And we probably got a lot of people going, what's going on? I'm going to give a clap for this lady that went out of the way to speak that. She's kind of like the new person out on the internet talking about relationships. That's right, folks, on the internet, whether you're part of that Alpha rhythm or not, there is all about relationships going on, being spoken about on the internet, especially through Facebook. And that's good because that's what we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. And you'll hear a lot of those young folks, those new folks are talking elements, talking tactics, talking things, talking information and gold nuggets that have to do with what we've been talking about for years when it comes to wanting to have a better, a more comfortable, a more loving, a more kind of relationship. And one of the basic things they say from every one of them that I hear, I listen to a lot of them, and obviously I seek out a lot of them too. And that is friendship is so important. And Sharon, you have to test. I've talked about that as being the most important thing that you should have in a relationship anyway, haven't I?
Absolutely.
Talked about that for years.
I was just about to say that. For years you have.
So
as a matter of fact, even though I sensed that was important, you were the first person that I have ever come across that spoke constantly about how important it is.
Yes. So I want you to share with your friends, share with your brothers and sisters, share with your mother and father, share with your pastor. I want you to share with even your enemy out there. We want you to share because we're going to dive right into this and we're going to take a look at how, again, this is one of the examples that have to do with if you want to see something that is supposed to be good, what you do is you show that which is what? I hate to use the bad and good,
Yeah,
but I'm going to use it anyway.
I was trying to think of.
I'm going to use it anyway because that's what most people look at,
Yeah.
bad and good. Spiritually, there's no such thing as bad and good. What is that gives that impression is for every action, there's a reaction.
Yes.
And that reaction may not be something that is going to be comfortable for you, your family, the community, sometimes
Yes.
for the whole world.
Exactly.
That would what people would come to the conclusion to saying being negative, bad, or devil-like. But there is that positive side, that higher elevation, that higher vibrations that we don't do enough. That gives us good feelings, positive feelings of who and what we are.
Yes.
One thing is for sure, by listening to her, what you just got through hearing, you can't say what we're talking about. That if that person, I said I wasn't picking on the women, I heard Sharon say before we started, you could definitely say it could be the example, or woman or man. The only problem is, I know in the Black community, we still have the stereotype that that man is like that.
Mm-hmm.
He mostly is not into the woman. He mostly is not into that wife or that girlfriend. Am I right?
Right.
That stereotype was back there strongly. There are music that's on that.
Yes.
There are paintings on it. There's many movies are on it. And it's still prevalent today through our young rappers or hip hop folks or entertainment. Ooh, we're going to talk about the sports players.
No.
It still is like that. Am I right?
Oh, you're absolutely
So
right.
I thought it was like a waste of time just to speak that.
Mhm.
I thought it'd be better to talk about the side that there's sometimes, and that's what I like her, because she talks about the side that we sometimes leave out, is what is it that women sometimes do that they should not be doing, that in turn makes that relationship out of balance, makes that relationship not in harmony, because there's no such thing as perfect. So I'm not going to go on. We know that at the same time, there is a need to hear that kind of uplift and that kind of encouragement for women, because, you know, some women who don't know that,
Right.
huh?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are some women who have not seen another side of the possibilities, just like there are some men who have only seen one side of how it should be. And a lot of those are how the females act,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many more mothers that are in the household as examples than there are fathers. And mothers are going to raise daughters and sons the way she knows how, which is pretty much the way she was raised.
Yeah. What's that old saying? People who were hurt are people who hurt.
Yeah.
And see, what we don't want to use is that same basic, I would say, law that a lot of women, especially Black women in the community, were hurt. I came out of one of them with a mom who was. And many of that hurt that she had as other Black women came from other Black men who hurt. And in turn, they hurt.
Yeah.
And hurt their children too.
Yeah.
Because
And
people
so-
who hurt will also hurt other people.
And
So it's not just Black
and what
men who
she-
do that.
Exactly.
It's the other side too. We have to look at that
Yeah.
to make a what? Healthy, balanced relationship.
And in that situation, what they do is teach you how to hurt,
Yes.
because they hurt you too.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of young boys who are coming out have no real masculine skills. And the ones that they do is the angry, hurtful
Yeah.
masculine skill. If I can't get what I want, then I'm going to
And the
introduce
way
my
I
strength
want
the way I want it.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt you, hurt somebody. And a lot of times it was because they came out of a relationship where that mom pretty much gave them everything.
Mhm.
They did what that was how they were.
Yeah.
I got everything. I want everything. So my children are going to have the same thing too, at the same time. But that makes it very, very uncomfortable when you're in a relationship,
Mhm.
because you're going to be mostly into who?
You.
You're going to mostly be into you. You're not going to be into that other particular person's relationship.
Yeah.
And that, as this sister was saying, is not going to make a good, balanced, healthy, thriving relationship. So what do you think about that side, given that as an example?
Actually, that's a really good example, a really good place to start,
Mm-hmm.
because we also in that situation where that time, that vortex where we hear of a lot of, for lack of a better term, gold diggers. A lot of the, from the Janet Jackson era, what have you done for me lately? instead of what have we done for each other lately.
Sister, forget just Janet Jackson because you don't look at Facebook or not. This sister don't do no Facebook stuff. She don't like to get in. She really didn't even know what's going on out here Facebook. Right there, even though Facebook doesn't necessarily have you person face to face whatsoever, but it will create this situation because there's a lot of young black guys, especially, who are going out in the street and confronting young sisters, and they in turn, some of it's fake, no doubt about it, but they in turn, especially the ones who started, they in turn were out purposely trying to look for gold diggers. Now, the first ones I saw years ago was some white guys who were doing it, I'll be honest with you. Then young black guys that came up to it, and now they're doing it so much it's not even funny. I'm waiting to see, probably not going to see too many black women do that to black men because the stereotype started in our black community that black men were like that anyway. Yeah. So it's not going to break too much, how can I say, the audience, because they'll go, we already know that. Yeah. Sadly, you got to break that stereotype. So we say, like we're doing now, and that it shouldn't be that way. But anyway, I'm seeing a lot of those, as you talked about, gold digger ones. And they usually pick a woman, a sister who got the most shortest shorts, is showing more of her breasts. I mean, she's usually just popping and dropping. Yeah, then they do that
outside image. And when the outer image is there, we have a tendency to realize that outside may be looking great, but
Thank you, Mark.
But there are some flaws.
We will, as long as it helps and uplifts. You should keep grinding.
Yeah. There are some flaws inside that are being covered up, but nobody wants to go and research those inner flaws. And a lot of people that have them don't want you to. They want to just keep those hidden. But you can't have a thriving relationship or a healthy relationship if you keep those things hidden. It's one thing to not know they're there, but you have to acknowledge them, realize them, and deal with them when you do find out that they are there.
Well, what happens is you don't bring real what? Balance. That's what it is.
Yeah.
When someone's mostly self-centered and into them and want you to be into them and not into you, then there's not a balanced relationship going on. One is more about what they feel about themselves. And it's no wonder why you feel empty and left out inside, because you're giving more of who you are to that other person than they are giving back with reciprocation. And I have to admit, that seems to be a thing that I see young people are doing now. All they are is in situations and they're playing the game. I got to get them before they get me. So one in that relationship will be self-centered as could be. It's all about me. It's all about me. And it's not necessarily just that woman too. It could be very much, as you know, the guys, but that's a customary thing. But now you got a lot of women who are out there who are like, before you think about me thinking I'm going to, I should call, give it the panani. When you take them out for the first date, they have these lists that they're now coming out with that you have to do. There was one lady I saw, young sister, who was saying openly to whoever her boo or her man was, if you don't get my fingers done, if you don't get my toes done, if you don't get a new dress for me that day, if you don't make sure that you pay for me, then I'm not going to do anything for you. In fact, you can't do anything for me. We don't need anything and continue on.
And that the other part to that is, women need to stop saying that you got to do this for me, you got to do that for me.
Thank you, David.
And start realizing that you have to do things for each other. The problem is that a lot of males find that as negating their masculinity. When I was growing up and I would go out on a date or go out to dinner or something like that, my mother would always make sure I had enough money for the meal.
But didn't you tell me that you had an older guy that kind of was sniffing around you when you were in high school? Maybe college?
College.
Yeah. And this older guy offered you a car as a gift?
Yeah.
I know too many stories of women that I've dated with.
Yeah.
And they'll come out with that secret skeleton in the closet. Usually when they were younger, whatever vibes they gave off, sometimes the particular sister was the kind of sister that brothers at school, on the football team, or at a club would look at these certain sisters who were very young and go, when she grew up, she gonna be fine. in that particular saying. It's cool, it's, harmless, but then there's some who have a predatory mindset. And that mindset is, I will make sure that sister is going to be mine physically, mentally, and many times like a piece of object. And there have been some older brothers I knew, that's what they would do with some of the young high school girls. I know you know that.
Oh yeah.
And to an offer them usually something they don't have. A car, usually like that, buy them clothes. Now, listen on the internet, they're taking some of these young sisters out of the hood. Some of these cats who got money, they are flying them places, taking them on vacations that they never have been on before. And many of them, or if you believe this or not, because I've listened to many of these testimonies, and one called it's called the Soft White Belly, and these basically personal testimonies. They're now getting on the internet telling all the stories, what they feel. And one of the things they'll talk about is, I don't give up nothing. I give no punani at all, but yet he still goes out of his way. And every time I asked him, he says, I just want to be there. I want. And the unbelievable pridefulness and confidence that because I'm getting these things, I'm really somebody, but most on the outside. And I don't have to take anything less from him, period, until I want to, leads them into a mindset of such self-grandiose, self-centeredness that they could never really operate in a balanced relationship. What do you think?
I agree. And at some point in time, when you talk about, well, I'm getting everything, but I'm giving nothing. You get to the point of, well, him and anybody else is lucky to have me.
Yes.
And, I feel like in a relationship, you have to have something that you offer that other person. You have something that they need and want. You have to be willing and able to give that. With not, I don't want to say in return, but in conjunction, I guess you could say.
Well, I think we're trying to get close to him, and I'm going to leave that out right now of what that answer should be in a balanced relationship, and until we come back after our, what are they called? Our breaks here, and is that breaks skits?
One break, multiple pieces of information.
Then we come back, my glasses slipping up real high. Then we're going to give you some insight of what that is, that missing piece that brings that road together. Than what the testimonies that I just got this. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I think our next show, if I can, I'm going to bring one of the clips of some of those young sisters talking that way. And I knew some women in my life that had those kind of relationships, and it was hard for me to believe until I saw the card, saw the money, saw the pictures, and I'm like, man, I cannot believe how this one-sided kind of relationship. And some of them were in that relationship, had their car payments paid, had their house payment, I'm serious, payment paid, had almost everything paid. And the guy may not even live in that town, live in that city. Some were lived in other countries and been doing that for years. I could not get that at all. And I'm gonna stop here too. And I'll be honest with you. I hope some of y'all who know me ain't watching this too. Some of them were not even all that good looking from the outside when it comes to attraction. I was trying to figure it out, seriously. But anyway, go ahead.
To me, it just seems like a dangerous game to play. And it's just, I don't know. No.
Well, I know for one thing they were playing off the ego. Okay, so let's go.
Hello, world. We're here, serving Savannah, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Brooklyn, Houston, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and the world. The best music all the time. The greatest songs ever made, every time. Tune in to Hot 2100 Savannah and get a taste for your ears. Hot 2100 Savannah, serving Savannah and the world.
What you gotta pay to get, I hit that for free. And when I'm in the streets, yeah, I gotta tote that heat. It's hard for you to touch it, cause I stay up out of reach. Talking about ends dirty, I'ma make them meet. I've been down too long, I'd be damn if I don't eat. If you want someone to try, I'd be damn if it's me. I see why you mad, you ain't swaggin' like this.
Hey there! Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to Our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
On March 18, vote to renew eSplosh.
Savannah, are you looking for some of the best Southern soul food? Then check out Kim's Cafe at 714 MLK Boulevard. The food is so good, you'll think that your mother cooked it. Located in the heart of Savannah, Kim's has a menu that includes breakfast anytime, lunch when you need it, and dinner so you won't have to cook when you get home. They also cater all types of events and can host your reserved event at the restaurant. Come see what everyone has been raving about. Great food, great atmosphere, and a great time. Kim's Cafe, 714 MLK Boulevard in beautiful downtown Savannah.
We are back. We are back. We are back. We're glad to see you back. Okay, shoot. Got some more coming here. Thank you very much. I see you, Mr. Johnson. Hey, James. How are you doing, James? Watching and learning. We're glad that you are. Who else is watching? Okay. Who's that?
Marco Bell.
Yes. Another one. Give a yay for every one of them. So where were we that we were getting ready to talk about when we came back? Do you remember what it was? Aside the fact that you
we were dealing with allergies. Well, we weren't then, but now we are.
Yeah, you are. Share is more like. I think what we were getting ready to say. Do you remember?
Yeah, we were talking about the women that are basically kept by men, and
no, not that. At the end, we talked about what is it that a woman can do as much as we could say a male, but most of the time black males in our community are already, how can I say it, stamped as being a person that ain't gonna be into you anyway. And you got to give everything to them. That's a stereotype that still goes on from that end. But what is it that in this case that we can look at as being a balanced way in a relationship that's about friendship? What is it that he can do to actually make that happen? And you started off saying, if you remember, do you remember?
What's that groove?
That's what you said. No,
I
you
did.
No, you did. You said, well, I could buy something or get something. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said I could get something or do something for him, something like that.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And see, go ahead.
And I think that is where we break down. We're always looking for something, but are we about giving something back?
Well, you were talking about giving something back, but in this case, it was going to be you giving back to show that you're into this person. Okay. Yes, but I wanted to go on as we are looking at what we talked about before, the equinox, the balance between night and day, which was no more than a couple of days ago last week. And this was this whole reason why we started off going this direction, that we were looking at a balance symbolizes harmony, renewal, equilibrium, healthiness, and all that, an awakening, growth. We have to remember one thing that we're not doing. I'm trying to keep from giving away, as you can actually tell, to be honest with you. In fact, before I give it away, because I think it's important that we know this, is looking at some of our insights for thriving relationships. Let's do that, and then we're talking about, because I think when we do that, hopefully you can hold your nose while it's starting to sneeze right now, right when the program's going on. Just trying to think about sneeze.
It's like, I don't know. Okay, I think I know why.
Come on.
But
So let's look at some insight. Remember, we talked about balance, reflecting light and darkness. Relationships thrive on mutual give and take, ensuring neither partner feels what? Overburdened. And we talked about how in a relationship, someone can feel like I'm taking up the trash more than you're just sitting there watching you, or I'm cooking the food more than in turn of you telling me what you want to eat.
Exactly.
Got her on that one, and I'm the victim on that one.
Yeah. So,
but them are some examples.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And you know, and they don't have to. They're not necessarily. I wouldn't call them, you know, the worst thing that could happen. But sometimes they lead to feelings of being taken for granted and things like that, or an imbalance.
Exactly.
You know, then we look at renewal, like spring's new growth. It's a chance to just let go of the past and conflicts and embrace fresh energy. And that's one of the hard things to do, is to let go of past conflicts, whether those past conflicts came from your childhood, whether they came from things that you once believed that you don't believe any longer, or you're trying not to believe any longer. You know, things that happened in the relationship in the beginning that you don't. You know how some people always bring up stuff from the past.
Yes.
And that's what we hear a lot about how women, you know, you get in an argument and women will bring up things that happened when you were, you know, a year into your relationship, and you're like 40 years into your relationship.
And still there.
Yeah.
You said, I thought it went gone.
Yeah.
It's still there. I'll be on.
You remember when you did this, and this, and
many,
you're like, no.
Many a times in my relationship, there's been some brothers who have known that, and their whole body seems to wilt and they bend over because they still have that thought, that depression, that memory of how they were shouted at and talked down about, and kept that energy of memory, not with words, but every unkind word, every tone of voice that said to them, the first time they said to them, you're worthless, you're not nobody. And that man carries that with him like a burden, like a thorn around their neck. And I said, there's been some men who actually died over that kind of stress they carried with them all their life too at the same time. So not good.
You know, the thing that old cliche that we grew up with, and it was our retort to people who were picking with us and whatnot. We would say, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is the biggest lie.
Exactly.
Because words hurt just as much as those sticks and stones. And sometimes even after you've healed from, you know, the sticks and stones, the words that were said when no sticks and stones were involved stay with you and start eating at you into your belief system.
Exactly.
You know, and
I call them still the bruises.
Yeah.
The still bruises that are left over.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the still bruises are left over. And back in the day when that was told, there were worse outside, especially physical, and if you're African American, psychological games playing on you, from the idea of feeling that you're less than a person. So forget between our relationships from that end. That were, how can I say it, more of a concern in our mind to deal with than the small things that could be happening in our relationships that wasn't as comparative as what you used to say, keep it in what? No, keep it in perspective. Keep it in perspective. But, you know, today, if you follow with me, today, we don't necessarily, things have got better since that day, especially for African Americans. It is not that much pressure as our mom and dad had and our grandmothers had. So therefore, we do not in turn, and it's a good thing, therefore, we don't have that many sideline abstractions. And we're not going to talk about through TV. We're not going to talk about through on the internet. We're not even going to talk about every day we're bombarded with the relationship game. Okay. That's the only thing that's focused.
But the problem with that relationship game that we are bombarded with, a lot of it is celebrating and honoring the negative stereotypes
Yes.
of relationship.
Or like this lady
So
that just came on before we showed. I about me. I don't have to be into you. Yeah.
That first part of what she was
Mhm.
saying, yes, but we get this thing of, this is how it needs to be, and it's all the negative. And so we have people going into relationships with that attitude that this is how I'm supposed to react in a relationship. And those are the only things that they have to go on,
Mhm.
because a lot of them don't have positive, they didn't grow up in households with
With
positive
role
role
models.
models. And so they use what they see on the internet. They use what they see in the
Mhm.
songs, in the videos, and things of that sort.
Which I think are purposely being actually strategically created so that masses
Yeah.
of people can stay in a certain mind thought and stay, especially Black folks,
Oh, I
stay in a
agree.
mind thought, stay in a certain way to be able to feel about one another. I call it self-hate. So they really don't move together as one
Right.
in another and move with the position of power,
Mhm.
whether it's economical power or it's our relationship power of liking and knowing us and feeling good about one another, as we should, huh?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, we should. I say it again,
Yeah.
that we should. So that leads me to where I want to give that answer. Or should I do that yet?
Go for it.
Go for that. 14. This is awakening. This is one of the insights of a thriving relationship that has a balance.
Mhm.
Is when you become awake and you don't continue to do that side that she talked about,
Mhm.
or what guys will continue to do. We become
After
awake.
after you have fostered the emotional, spiritual, and physical alignment,
Yes, you
then
encourage mindfulness
Mhm.
and intimacy. Okay,
Yes.
mindfulness and intimacy. Now, I want everyone to understand mindfulness and intimacy are a inside thing. I'll say it again. Mindfulness and intimacy. Here's your awakening right now. Here's something for you who are about wanting to be woke, wanting to be conscious, wanting to take the higher road. This has to do with you concentrating and creating and expanding who you are on the inside, not the outside.
Yes.
So now you can see where I was trying to go to.
Yes.
When you talked about your balance was, I'm going to give back
Mhm.
physically as much
Yes.
as that other person did to make it back. Don't get me wrong, that's a good start. But what happens if you can? What happens if you become in a relationship of quadriplegic? What happens if that happens? Do you throw your baby out with the bathwater? Do you, like you see some people have an attitude because now they can't give them physical things? No. In a balanced, healthy relationship, that awakening is like a spiritual light bulb comes on, has to do with knowing and finding out who you are from the inside.
Yes.
And that's what you give as that balance. So even if we are sitting, and you're going to say, okay, Craig, stop it. Oh, I'm going to stop it because you sometimes fuss about it. In a Cialis moment, we can still, in silence, enjoy and love our presence.
Exactly. But you know what? When you said,
Mm-hmm.
Even if what if you become a quadriplegic
Mm-hmm.
and you can't give back physical things?
I had to go, yeah. I got to say,
Yeah.
You guys, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. That was a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you are a quadriplegic, even if you are, incapacitated in some way,
Mm-hmm.
there's still what you can give back. And one of those things that you can give back is gratitude.
That's an inside thing.
You can exactly.
That's an
You
inside
can
thing.
you can speak your things.
So this
You
would
can-
be another, as you're speaking, this would be another example of a piece of information, a gold nugget, energy, because we're talking about energy anyway,
Right.
that you also can practice or express in that relationship is what again?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. So many things to think about in gratitude
Yes.
that you could do that. I wonder if that's part of that silentness that we do or can do when we're quietly, like sometimes on some summer days. We've been out on some beautiful summer days where the wind is not too hot and of course it's not too cold and you can see the grass blowing. If anybody's been out there kind of dreaming with me, if you haven't dreamed with me, and you're seeing that nice, beautiful water, whether it's ocean, whether it's a pond, whether it's a lake or whether it's a river, and you're sitting in your chair, you're sitting in your seat and you're noticing how the wind is sliding slightly blowing, and you're hearing the birds and stuff in the background, and you and your mate who you love are relaxing. You're not saying anything, but yet at the same time, you are connected with her, and you're connected with all of nature around you. You are right in current in the now, and everything's all connected with one another from that time. That's being connected from the inside. That's the kind of balance that a loving, thriving relationship does. Now, most of us, when I speak that, so I'm going to get us down to the earth so we won't be so heavily minded. Some of us remember that times when we were young with our friends.
Yes.
How many times do you remember on a Saturday or a Sunday when you were with your friend? If you're like me, it could have been in the urban community. It could have been down the park, down the street. It could have been in the backyard. You got lost in the moment while you were there with your friend. And during that time with your friend, you two may have not said nothing at all. Yeah. But you got lost in that moment, and that time didn't even exist. Yes. That's what we're talking about. That's that balance. That's that harmony that we're talking about. That's that renewal time that we're talking about in our relationships.
And I was I was known for doing that with my friends, just sitting out and not saying anything for a while, you know, and we would just kind of commune. And then once, you know, we picked up and started moving on, a lot of times we had some of the best conversations as we discussed what that time felt like to us, how much we needed that quiet, you know, and especially I've really, and I know you've heard me say this many times, I've really come to appreciate the quiet since I've been teaching. I've always appreciated my quiet moments, but they are definitely valuable because of all the different personalities I have to hear all day long. Yeah, that quiet is grounding.
Grounding for you. Yeah, I got to remember that too, because it's not for me, because I'm quite heavy all day while I'm here. On that beautiful note that came in my mind, as for our lesson or assignment for you who are out there listening, your assignment for a balanced, healthy relationship, because I know that's what you're wanting, that's why you're listening to us, is the weather's getting better. It's time to pack your escape bag. It's time for you to what I call my one bag in there with the two of us. My bug out bag. My bug out bag. Whatever you mean. It's time to, and in it you are going to have a setup for those needed emergency picnics.
Yes.
You remember the ones we used to do?
Yes.
The picnics. It was just. You tell more about it. You can tell more.
Yeah. You know, we would just let's go take a walk. Let's go someplace. Let's just take a drive and see where we end up. And it, you know, those were the times when you'd raid the refrigerator. Okay, I'm going to make some sandwiches. I'm going to, you know, and if you didn't have anything in the refrigerator, there was nothing to stop by the grocery store and, you know, grab some chips and some, you know, waters or whatever you were going to drink, and, you know, just put it in a bag and go.
Exactly.
But
go wherever.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be so far out of town. It could have been that park that was small as can be, that was between two buildings that had a lot of cars up, but that park you went by a couple of times looked like, when you looked at it, as a perfect quiet place. The animals probably already took advantage of it, and you said, this time let's take advantage of it, and you might end up being only you two there while the world passes you by, and that's your picnic. I remember that picnic thing I did with you outside of, in this one city we won't talk about, that was a large museum, and everybody else was going in and out of the museum. I decided and said, let's do a picnic tree just right next to the entryway, and we just had our little picnic. And
I just happened to have a blanket because we drove to this city, and you know, and it was a long drive, and I had a blanket in the car because I get cold in the car. And so we took that blanket and we spread it under the tree and we sat on it, and it was just so nice.
Just you and me. Other people walking by wonder what we were doing.
And it was a time when you needed that peace.
Yes.
You needed to wind down because of the drive, because of the reason we were there, because of the place where we were. There was a lot of emotion built up, a lot of angst build up because of that. And so you needed that. And it was wonderful how it just happened.
Hold on for a second. You wore purple.
I had on pink.
Was it pink? It looked like it was purple to me. I can never tell the difference between purple or pink, but it was a very beautiful pink or purple dress you had on. And the way you set was so beautiful when I took that picture because it was photography.
Yeah.
In fact, it was at the museum that I actually had my drawing picture that I took at the Boys Club that went all the way out to New York and back again.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me the scholarship at this museum to go every weekend and learn how to paint. And I would never tell the guys, the boys from the street that play basketball and stuff when I was not there on Saturdays and they wondered where I was at. I didn't tell them. I was at that museum learning how to paint. Talk about having a masculinity problem.
Exactly.
And making sure that no one thought I was doing this sissy thing about learning how to paint. I regret that too. But anyway, that was a very beautiful. They still got that beautiful picture. We see that once in a while, don't we?
You don't realize that could have been the thing that let them know they didn't have to hit the stereotype.
I never thought about that then. Yeah. Didn't.
So
really didn't think of it. Okay, let's move on because we still got a little bit more time.
Yes.
Then we'll let people know where they can get hold of. I think it was put that at the bottom.
Hold on. Before we do that, before we move forward, I want to make sure that we stay on the picnic bag, the getaway bag, the hideout bag.
Go ahead,
and ladies. If you're gonna put that bag together, make sure you have something special to bring, special memories with that too, because you never know what the evening's gonna bring.
Yes,
I'm not gonna say anything more than that. You
exactly.
never know what the evening's going to bring.
Yep, she's talking about the evening time. Got to get prepared, guys. If not,
but because one of the things that we just talked about was also that that mindfulness and intimacy. That awakening piece.
It does get created out of that.
Exactly, and so you need to be prepared for all of that. Don't be sitting there going, "Ooh, I wish and woulda, coulda, shoulda," and trying to improvise and all that. Just let it flow.
I would say, very much say so. Another good awakening piece, another good time for you to expand your relationship. And what a way to, how can I say it, make that much more stronger your friendship too.
Yeah.
Because some of the things that you guys talk about, or we talked about, some of the things that we just saw, even from the inside, we didn't talk, strengthen our friendship of knowing that we can connect with not necessarily always having to say something to one another. Our very presence, the essence of our energy was good enough just to be around us. Some of us still remember that when we first were in love with that woman and that man, when we first got dated when we were young. That's what I'm talking about. That fall in love period. You just couldn't help want to see them. Couldn't help want to be around. And you many times didn't want to say anything. I don't know if that still happens now, because I don't know the way now it looks like. If I can't see the booty, I can't see the tata, I can't see the other particular parts there. I ain't got nothing to feel for them, but I still don't believe that. I still think there's some of that, what people will call that innocent, that energy that's still
I agree.
But you need to bring that, and you have to bring that, and you should bring that in a balanced relationship, because that's very, very important. Let's let people know about how they can get a hold of us.
Okay.
This case, they want to move to this, they want to make that part of their life, and we can help them move to that, as we just gave them an example of that picnic basket.
You can reach us at takingthejourneytogether@gmail.com. You can call us at 786-763-1324. If you are looking for coaching, relationship coaching, you can reach us at the Gmail address, takingthejourneytogether@gmail.
Don't be afraid to tell us what you're feeling.
And just say that that you're looking for coaching through Mind at Rest Couples Coaching, or you can call us at 786-763-1324 and leave a message if we don't answer, saying that you're looking for coaching, you're reaching out to Mind at Rest Couples Coaching, or something of that sort.
Exactly. And you saw us on Taking the Journey Together. Let us know if you either saw us on our Black Media Network like this, or you maybe heard us on the radio, which we're supposed to be switching our time pretty soon. We're supposed to be going where now? If you
we're going to switch our time to Thursdays.
That's what they're supposed to be doing.
I think it's at 11 o'clock, but I can't
Yeah,
remember.
we'll keep
And
you
so
in tune.
we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll keep you in tune
Yeah.
with that on WRUU 107.5. Get it on, of course, online too, what you see over there, www.wruu.org. Or you can get it, well, that's online. Or in this case, if you're in the Savannah area, you can get it on your FM radio at 107.5. Okay, let's go down here and let's talk about how you can see us at Taking the Journey Together at gmail.com or
Facebook.
just go to Taking the Journey on
Yeah.
Facebook and you'll be able to find us. Guess we're also on Instagram. We've got to start getting that Instagram and Twitter account moving a lot more than what it is from that end. So
we're taking the J
together. We've got 4 more minutes, or maybe 3 more minutes. With some other stuff that you want to, other things, precious things, insightful things that you want to bring up that we didn't bring up about our balanced relationships that are so important for us moving into spring.
One of the things that I think we need to point out is that balance may not come very easily.
Mm-hmm.
There may be, some waves in the water to get to that balance. But
especially if you're not used to it, especially if it wasn't something that you thought was necessary, or really didn't understand it at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not sure how to really make it happen, but you're going to try anyway. But that's okay, because relationships are all about working through things. And I say that because I'm trying to make sure people understand, as you said earlier, that it's not necessary to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
One partner might feel like they'll always have to initialize the kind of communication. Maybe why they doesn't check in on how does that how does it create an imbalance? Because it does.
Yeah.
And me and you have talked about that before, how the need for you to communicate a little bit more. We'll talk about before this.
Yes.
Understanding the school thing was one of your reason why you weren't, and the reason why I did it more because being here, mostly working out of the office, no one really talking at the same time to me. And I do like to have good conversations. And of course, my past, what we'll be talking about, dealing with masculinity with a lot of Black men, of how that's been eradicated, whitewashed, and so on and so forth, and how that can be a problem just because of the fact it's been given a consensus that if you do not do everything or be that great John Henry to that relationship in your life, then you are not worth it. You're not valuable. So you might be going out of your way to be more of a painting the back end to that woman in your life, or they might look at you as being a predator at the same time, when really what you're looking for is just some more attention, because you didn't get it from them. You didn't get it when you were young, things like that.
That whole sense of better late than never to get what I need.
Exactly. Well, really it comes from I am who I am because of what I do on the outside. I've never learned how knowing who I am as a human being because of who I am from the inside. That's the center. That's the root of all of it. In that end. So anyway, we got 6:59. We're about ready where we are going to have to go. You got anything you want to say before I have to let us go? Bye-bye.
Just keep taking the journey together.
Exactly. All right.
Like that.